All right, what you're looking at right now is a real post-purchase flow inside Klaviyo. And what's interesting about this is that it runs all the way out to day 82, which most e-commerce brands don't even get close to. First email in this flow opens at 72.9%. Emails 2 through 4 are sitting between 66 and 72%. And there's not a single discount, no review ask anywhere in the first 3 cents. Compare that to what most brands are running. Thank you email, review request, 10% off, and then everybody just gets dumped back into the campaign list. That's a whole post-purchase experience for a whole lot of accounts that we onboard. So we pulled the post-purchase flows from 500 plus brands we worked with, and the same 8 gaps showed up almost every single time. I will run you through all 8 in about a minute, and I'll walk you through what you should be running instead, using real accounts, real numbers. Now, a quick self-audit before we go any further. If your post-purchase flow has 4 or more of these, you're leaking repeat revenue every single day it's been running. 1, you've only got 1 or 2 emails in the entire post-purchase email sequence. 2, you're running the same flow for first-time buyers and repeat customers. 3, the review request fires before the customer has even used the product. 4, discount code is the only reason you give them to come back. 5, there's no product-specific education or onboarding anywhere in the flow. 6, no cross-sell logic that adapts to what was actually purchased. 7, once the flow ends, the customer gets dumped into a general campaign pool. 8, no behavioral branching for people who didn't open. If 4 or more of these just hit, you gotta rebuild. So I want to walk you through what we run instead, and the 3 things that actually matter most when you put this all together. First fix, and this is one that almost every brand we onboard is guilty of. You need 2 post-purchase flows. 1, a first-time buyer that is forming an opinion about your brand right now. They've never used the product, they don't know what to expect, and the thing that they actually need from you is confidence and education before you ask them for anything. A repeat buyer, on the other hand, is in a completely different place. They've already trusted the product, they trust your brand, they've been through the experience once. And what they want from you now is recognition and a sense of what else is in your catalog that they haven't tried yet. If you're running one flow that tries to talk to both of these people at the same time, the messaging is just going to miss the mark for everyone. The setup inside Klaviyo is genuinely simple. It's super easy. You can do this today. First time flow triggers on placed order equals 1 overall time. Repeat flow triggers on placed orders at least 2 overall time. On both of them, you'll set the cancellation filter to 0. That filter is the one that I see missed all the time. And it matters a lot more than people realize. Without this, a customer who cancels their order still gets a thank you for your purchase email 4 hours later. And at that point, you've trained them to ignore everything else that you've sent, or worse yet, you're gonna receive a bombardment of customer support emails that you gotta respond to. One more Klaviyo setting before we move on, because this one catches almost every brand that we audit off guard, and that's smart sending. It's a feature designed to prevent over-mailing, and in campaigns, that's useful, that's good. But inside flows, what it does, it silently skips over your carefully timed post-purchase emails anytime the subscriber has received another email recently. So you fire a campaign on Tuesday morning, your day 3 education email just doesn't land, doesn't send, no bounce, no error, and most importantly, no notification. That email is just going to disappear in the pipeline. What we want to do here is to turn it off in every single email within this flow that you run and manage the frequency through segmentation and flow filters instead. So this is what we do for Qure Skincare. The flow goes all the way out to day 82, and that's not a typo. Most brands stop somewhere around day 7, and the 75 days between those 2 numbers is genuinely where repeat purchase rates get built, or it doesn't. The first phase is the one that most brands rush through, and it's actually the most important days. Days 0 to 3 is all about confidence. The first email opens at 72.9%, and the thing to notice is that it's not selling anything. There's no discount, there's no review ask. Its only job is to make the customer feel like they've made the right call. The second email, in our case, is a system guide, a product system guide. Safeties, do's and don'ts, post-treatment care, validation from a derm, Just useful information from people who are about to use a skincare device that they've never used before. Still, no discount, no ask, just education, right? The third email, that's where this is, I think, borderline genius, and it's one thing that I want every founder watching to steal. The entire email has one CTA. Add your treatment schedule to your phone calendar. That's it. No review request, no product push. The whole thing exists to help the customer build the habit of using what they've just bought. Because if the customer doesn't use the product, none of the rest of this really matters. Phase 2 starts on day 4 and runs all the way out to day 17. This is where the flow gets really smart. It branches out by skin concern. Customers who came in for fine lines, wrinkles, they get one path. Customers who came in for dark spots, they get another. The cross-sell at the end of each path is the product that actually fits what the customer came in for and positioned in a way that they care about. Non-openers go down a re-engagement branch with a different subject line. People who open but didn't click get a follow-up email that addresses their most likely objection, depending on their preferences and what they care about. And then phase 3 is everything from day 17 to day 82. First cross-sell, then fires at day 17. And that timing is because the customer needs at least some level of product experience by then to only have an opinion. Day 65, there's a gender split that improves catalog relevance for everything sent after. Day 82 is a zero-party data survey that feeds future segmentation. So the customer comes out of this flow with more data on them than when they came in, so that the next flow that they enter is smarter and more relevant and more personalized because of it. And the open rates between emails 1 and 4 hold between 66 to 72 per gram, which on any other email program would be insane. The only reason that this works is that the content is actually adapting to what the customer bought. The third fix is replenishment timing. And this one is a single highest ROI change that you can make to a flow that already exists. Now, most replenishment flow fires on a round number. Day 30, 60 days, 90 days. Frankly, whoever set it up probably just picked a number that felt reasonable and it just kind of sat there for 2 years. So what does it actually cost you, right? We took on a brand called Nuvé last year, and the replenishment trigger was set at 75 days. We went into Klaviyo Predictive Analytics and pulled the real average time between orders for your customer base. The actual number was closer to 30 days. So you've got a 45-day gap there, where the customer is sitting at home, ready to order, and you're hearing nothing from the brand. By the time that the email finally lands on day 75, they've either already reordered on their own, best case scenario, or gone and bought from a competitor, or worst case, they've moved on. None of these outcomes are revenue that you can ever get back except for the first one. This fix takes about 2 minutes inside of Klaviyo. Go to Analytics, then Predictive Analytics, and look at the average time between orders. If you sell across consumables and durables, filter that by product category, because the behavior is going to be completely different. Someone who buys, for instance, protein powder every 28 days versus a yoga mat every 18 months just cannot be on the same replenishment trigger. Once you've got the real number, your replenishment nudge fires about 5 days or so before that mark. And your win-back flow fires about 15 days after. Those two flows are connected, and they need to be calibrated to the same data source. Last fix, and this is the one that genuinely surprises people the first time we show them the data. Most post-purchase flows lean on discounts to drive second purchases, on the assumption that the discount is what's doing the work. Watch what happens when you take the discount away. 2 emails we ran for an anonymous pet accessories brand have outperformed every promotional send in the account 4 months, and one of them runs with no discount at all. The first is what we call an objection buster. It's an educational email built around the most commonly asked questions and concerns that customers have about their products after they've used it for a couple of weeks. The open rate here is 65.1% against an account average of 46.77%. And the part that makes all founders kind of sit up is that revenue percent is on par with the same brand's emails offering 10 to 15% off. So they're getting promotional tier revenue without giving up anything on margin. The second pattern is even simpler, and you can test this out in your account this week. Format. We sent 2 education emails to this list in the same week. Same brand, same voice, same education-led angle. The only thing different was the format. One was fully designed. It looked like a campaign. It was beautiful. The other was plain text. It looked like a personal email from the founder. The design version opened at 58.61%. The plain text version opened at 46.23%. So designs wins on opens, which, if you think about it, doesn't necessarily make sense, but here's where it gets interesting. The plain text email converted at a 0.93% click rate and a 0.3% place order rate. That ended up being a top 5 revenue generating campaign across 90 days from a plain text email. No discount, no urgency, no nothing. The reason it works is because in a post-purchase flow, the customer already owns the product. The selling is already done. So what earns the next order is the customer feeling like the person behind the brand is actually thinking about them and is actually relating to them. And a plain text email reads kind of like a real person who has typed it. So the format matches the intent and the moment that it's being received. Most brands only ever test subject lines. Format is sitting there as a really powerful lever that almost nobody pulls. All right, so if 4 or more of these 8 mistakes hit you at the start of this video, here's what you can do this week. 6 things in order. 1, split your post-purchase flow. First-time buyers get one flow, repeat buyers get another. You can kind of scroll back and look at the triggers I showed you earlier. 2, turn smart sending off in this flow. This is a silent killer that most brands don't know about. You want emails to land in inboxes as intended. 3, rewrite email 1 as a confidence email. Whatever is in there now, the new version doesn't have to sell anything and doesn't have to ask for anything. 4, pull your actual average time between orders from Klaviyo's Predictive Analytics and reset your replenishment trigger to match the real number. 5, add an educational email into the flow with no discounts attached and take a look at what happens to revenue % and revenue per recipient. 6, run a designed email, regular email, versus a plain text email against the same segment. And take a look at what wins on place order rates. And that's the one that goes into the flow. If you want a full architecture, the timing tables, the SMS layer, and every Klaviyo trigger setup walkthrough in detail, the full guide is linked below. It's free, no email gate, just go read it. Or rewatch this video. Either way, your post-purchase flow shouldn't be ending on day 7.